Secure the vote. Republicans and other groups in U.S. battleground states have filed more than 100 lawsuits in hopes of bringing vote integrity to the election process. Many of those suits, like the appeal of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the one that they just won on a 6-3 vote at the U.S. Supreme Court, concern ineligible voters.
Easy to vote, hard to cheat. That's the standard we have in Virginia. That's why this is a brilliant winning for not just upholding the rule of law, but I just say common sense. 83+% of Americans think only citizens should be voting on an election. That's actually the law. It is a felony if you are a non-citizen voting in a U.S. election.
Joining us is Houston attorney Jared Woodfill, who has filed a lawsuit against the voter registrar of Harris County, Texas, for failing to purge voter rolls there. Jared, what is your reaction first to this Supreme Court ruling in favor of the Commonwealth of Virginia purging voter rolls less than 90 days before the election?
Well, it's a great victory. I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, you have a voter roll that has individuals who are not United States citizens who under our Constitution can't vote. I mean, the fact that we're having to take that all the way to the United States Supreme Court just to remove those folks from the voter roll just shows you how entrenched the other side is in making sure that the voter roll is inaccurate. So thank God for Governor Youngkin and the fact that he didn't give up, that he didn't back down, that he took this all the way to the United States Supreme Court, which will send a very clear message to other jurisdictions that if you have folks who are not United States citizens on your voter roll, they need to be removed. They need to be taken off. And that's a great victory today.
Well, now your lawsuit in Texas, explain to us what's happening there that caused your clients to bring a suit against Harris County.
Sure. Well, Harris County, which is Houston, Texas, is the largest county in the state of Texas. Typically, as Harris County goes, so too goes the state of Texas. The state of Texas is run by Republicans. We have a Republican at every statewide office, Republican majorities in the State House, State Senate. But in some of our larger counties, like Harris County, it's being run by Democrats. And so we have a voter registrar, we call it the tax assessor collector, who has chosen not to show up for work for the past 3.5 years. And the Texas election code says that every single month you have to take your voter roster, bounce it up against what's called the National Change of Address List, where it'll identify who has moved and no longer lives at the location that is shown on the voter registration card. Unfortunately, our voter registrar has chosen not to do this on a monthly basis. And as a result of that, we have identified over 500,000 individuals who arguably aren't allowed to vote in Harris County. And so that's the subject of the lawsuit, to force our voter registrar to follow the law, to remove those individuals or put them on a suspense list who have moved or no longer live in Harris County or the state of Texas.
Well, we know that Texas is housing tens of thousands of illegal immigrants. So how many do you expect will vote in the election? Many may already have registered to vote when they got their driver's licenses.
Well, that's a great question. And as part of our universe, we've also identified individuals who are on that list that are not here legally. We've identified individuals that are dead, that shouldn't be on the voter roster. And now, of course, individuals who no longer live in the state of Texas. So right now we're monitoring it on a daily basis. So when this early voting period is over, we'll be able to identify and challenge every single individual who shows up on our list, on our database, that falls into one of those categories. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a lot larger number than we would like.
Well, what do cases like the Virginia win at the Supreme Court then mean for election integrity?
Well, I think it's huge. I mean, it sends a very clear message that the United States Supreme Court is concerned about voter rolls or voter rosters to make sure they're accurate. Because the only way, or one of the main ways that voter fraud occurs is you have an inaccurate or illegal voter roll or voter roster. You can only commit the voter fraud when you have a roster that is incorrect. So it's so important in order to maintain the integrity of our elections to make sure at that starting point, at that voter roster, that it's accurate and correct. And unfortunately, too many people fight against that. I mean, it seems to make sense that every American, every Texan would want the voter roll and the voter roster to be accurate and correct. They wouldn't want illegal votes to be being cast, because if an illegal vote is cast, then that cancels out or disenfranchises a legal vote. And so that's why it's so important that we take a stand, not just in Harris County, not just in Virginia, but all across the country to make sure that voter rolls in every single county, in every single state are accurate.
Well, what will that Supreme Court decision then mean for the other lawsuits? There are about 100 of them underway right now.
Well, I think it sends a very clear message that the Supreme Court is taking this issue very seriously, and that if there are issues with the voter roll, that needs to be dealt with by the respective authority, whether it be the Secretary of State for that state, whether it be a voter registrar or a county elected official, that you do have to take it seriously and that you do have to act promptly. Because in the Virginia case, of course, there was a lower court that said the governor could not purge those names or remove those illegal names. That particular order was stayed by the Supreme Court in a 6-3 decision recently. And so it's a huge win. And I think ultimately it sends a larger message to other states that you better clean up your voter rolls. And when they're challenged to lower court judges, that something needs to be done.
Okay, Houston attorney Jared Woodfill, thank you for setting us straight today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.